Governor Gaius Aggripa of Neapolis set foot upon the newly claimed shores of Nusquam. He paused to take in the land before him. The air was warm and mild, the earth dark and fertile beneath his sandals, a land blessed by the gods themselves. Vast groves of olive trees would flourish here, he thought, their fruit feeding both trade and empire for generations to come. Nearby rich deposits of resin seeped from the forests, perfect for sealing the clay amphorae that would satiate the demands of Neapolis, who had been taxed harshly to pay for Agrippa's fleet. The sea, too, promised abundance. Oyster beds clung to the shallows, while great sturgeon swam the deep waters beyond the harbor. And in the distant mountains, pale veins of marble cut through the rock like the bones of earth itself, waiting to be quarried into temples, forums, and monuments worthy of Rome. Agrippa allowed himself a faint smile. This would not become some forgotten frontier settlement at the edge of civilization, no. This land was destined for greatness. This would be another jewel of the Republic. This would be Capua. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the city of Neapolis. We stand on the precipice of an uprising. We're at negative 600 happiness here. We've been pushing the population a little too hard, and of course, with the beheading of that blasphemer, people don't forget so quickly. And for another 90 minutes at least, they're going to be quite unhappy, and that's tanking our happiness by negative 584. So we would be at negative 2 if it wasn't for that. So we're just going to have to deal with the situation a little while longer, but I thought we should address it. We're suffering a little bit on the Libertas and the plebeian workforce very much because of the unhappiness, and it's because there is a riot right now over by the docks. This riot has actually taken our warehouse offline, which is going to really hurt our production and then hurt my bottom line, so we can't have that. So we'll put down another custodes just over on this side. The current one we have is just slightly out of reach. I was hoping this would sort of peter out, but now that they're actually affecting the warehouse, we have to intervene. So let's also pause the sawmills, and we're going to pause the woodcutters just to get a bit of workforce back in just temporarily, and we'll address some of the workforce problems over here. Now our ship has just arrived. We've brought back the devoted brother of Heracles. Of course, we were doing Diana's quest, and this was one of her unrequited lovers that, well, effectively threw himself overboard when he saw the rejection letter. Now he gets to sit in the cargo hold of a ship full of rejection letters, and he probably realizes that it wasn't just him. So we'll toss him back in there. We'll get his effect in the future when we actually build a theater. In the meantime, let's load up with a bunch of timber. And we're going to sail off to Capua, our new island, in order to get it ready for building. We'll keep the rejection letters because there's a ship somewhere out there that we're actually looking to engage with. Speaking of Zara and Nitu, this is perfect. Our other ships have probably arrived. They have. And they are carrying 100 talents of sheep. She needs 97. And we get 4,000 for doing that. Now, what am I going to do with the remaining 3 talents of sheep? We're going to sell them. We're not going to kill them. We're not going to throw them overboard. That's not how we deal with things here in Neapolis. That's not how Gaius Aggripa would deal with things. So, they're on to Diana. They can actually buy some construction material and then pass that on down to Capua as well, actually. So that works out. Okay, so let's get a few extra houses just here. Let's get a bit more workforce going. We're going to get rid of the sheep. We don't need them anymore. At least not that much. Throw down a warehouse here. We'll get another little block there and there. And that should be enough without tanking anything too badly. One thing that I think would be actually worth doing as well, looking over the town here, is let's just say bye-bye to you. We'll move you in there. It's just one of the plebeians. And then in this area, we can actually build some city services. So we want to make that happiness a little bit better. We do have watchtowers now, and we're currently researching latrines as well, but the health situation is actually fine. So for the watchtowers, we'll throw one down here. That affects 40 buildings. That's actually pretty good. If we cut the road just ever so slightly there, we could probably throw in a well, although there is a well here. It's not really as needed. We can move this inside here maybe a bit. And put the well a bit further out. Again, not the best spacing on that, but maybe until we get latrines we can't really do much about it in terms of putting other things in there. I was thinking as well, a spot here would be good. If we connect this across and we go with a watchtower somewhere here. 45 buildings, pretty nice. And then maybe up here. 34, 35. Let's go with the 35. And then we'll throw in a well. We'll give them a road at the back just to make it look a bit better. So there we go. Just about managed to do it. I think as our population continues to grow just slightly, this number is going to keep getting a little bit worse. But for now, we're avoiding an uprising just about. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to throw one more down here then, would it? What's that, 21 buildings? It's really not that much. We turn this sideways. Maybe throw this here. 23. It's better than nothing. And we have the little extra workforce to do it now, so that's good. Now, more ships have arrived. So we have a military ship, the Thetis. Let's take on some clay tiles. You can take on some clay tiles as well. And let's just send you guys straight down to Capua right now. You're not part of a fleet. I don't know why you think you are. There we go. Let's load this up with the first bits of rations, right? So we'll send some porridge, some bread, and some sandals down to get our plebeians ready down at Capua, nice and early. And in the meantime, we should have made a brand new ship, which we have. And I think we've actually got a quest from
people here live quietly.
Cecilia. Yes, we do. 61 talents of sardines for another 4,000. So let's take that on. We'll pick up the fish with this ship. Not that ship. This ship. The Dreamfish. Perfect name. Fitting name, one would say, to pick up sardines and deliver them as their first task. We'll get that done, and then I think that's really going to be it for Neapolis. We'll have all this construction material making its way down now. We actually have that enemy ship right outside of Capua. And our ships are on the way. Probably not a good idea to engage it with just one ship, though, especially when we're overweight. Although it'd be tempting. Our other two military ships are right here. So at Diana's, let's just buy the timber. And let's sell the sheep, nice and safe, and then let's get the tiles. 2,700. Right, so yeah, we managed to avoid them. That's okay. I think they'll come back this way. They seem to have been trailing back and forth along the south of the map, or the southeast edge of the map, so hopefully we'll engage them when we bring our other ship around this way. This isn't mine, this is Diana's. Alright, so, once we load this... when we load this timber in here, we'll build a depot, and we can store a lot more of this material and then really get to building. I have a whole layout plan for this place, so I want to actually deliver the material before I start building. It'll be a more satisfying time-lapse that way. It does mean that it's just going to take a little bit longer to get started, though. So let's go with the depot just anywhere here for now. Alright, so now our ship is pretty much ready to go engage that other ship if it comes by. We might want to actually build a repair crane too. So we have one all the way out here instead of having to go all the way back every time. So the ships are on the way, all good, and we want to pick up the fish. I think it was 61. Great, and we'll just send that over to Sinus. Awesome. Alright, I think that's pretty much it. Now, we did turn off all the sawmills. We'll turn them back on. So, wood production is a go. We're keeping the lumberjacks just offline for a moment. This is just a weird OCD thing of mine. We're at 250 wood, so I just don't want to see the full storage thing popping up all the time. So we're just going to eat a bunch of our own storage. And once we do that, then we'll turn them back on if we need them, which I'm sure we will. So we just got the technology for latrines. The next technology up is tacking. This one will take a lot longer. It's actually 32 minutes. I wonder, is there anything else worthwhile getting in the meantime? Fuel efficiency. Choose the Roman path in Albion. So we have to go to Albion to start unlocking things around here. Establish a trade route in Latium and generate 500 knowledge. That's pretty easy to do. We could do that in a moment. Ship is under attack. Looks like we've been engaged. Oh, and just in perfect time as well, because our other ship has arrived. So we have the rejection letters. Can I throw them overboard? Into that ship, though. Too far away. Trying to tell them that we reject them.
You've killed him. Good. He chose this profession. Malicious and cruel.
I wonder, was there another way to deal with that?
Slaves. I'm sorry for all the trouble. I've got a
Boom! 12,000. That's pretty good. So we got...
this.
Yeah, we got 5,000 each time before. Is this the last one, though? I still have 47 letters.
More letters. I can live with no more letters. As for you, you've done me a great service.
I'll just keep the letters then, I guess, yeah?
Reward.
I guess so. Alright, so we're here. We can drop off the rest of this stuff. Our first bits of tiles, first bits of wood. We can build a repair crane, actually, and just heal ourselves while we're here. And then we can head back. So we're looking pretty good. 170 timber, 35 tiles. We can get building in just a moment. We're still waiting on a couple more ships to come in, actually. Yes, they're just arriving with tiles. And then we've just delivered the fish, the sardines, over to Sicilia right now. Done.
Thank you for
Excellent.
thinking of us.
Now, you can probably just stay up here. In fact, I'm going to build another ship. I want to keep building all the time. It's usually around this part of the game where I really slow down and I don't manage multiple things like this very well. Multiple islands. By the way, what's just tanked the workforce over here? Oh, we were given a ship. We were given a trireme. And it's got 37 workforce. Oh. It's got oars, sails, and ship archers. Nice. We haven't unlocked triremes yet. That's not till down here. Okay, pretty good, but that's why we just took on extra workforce. 1 ton of sandals, by the way. 1 talent. Yeah. This is great to have. We can use the what I want to do with my fleet now is start really attacking pirates. Getting a trireme this early is awesome. We can bring that with all our pentaconters and help out. And then we can heal up down here now. So yeah, this would be great. These can all just sail down and start attacking. Our flagship maybe could go back up and start dealing with bigger transfers again, though. Not too sure. Although I do think we've got almost everything we need here to build for a while. And then set up our first trade route. I mean, I could set up the trade route and just activate the tech tree anyway, right? But we'll wait till we actually have the tech to set up. Diana completed a trade up here again. Nice. The game still doesn't tell us what was transferred or how much, unless you're looking at it, which is just still crazy. But I hope they address that soon. All right, I'm just trying to figure out. This place seems good to go now. I know the workforce isn't the best, but as soon as we build workforce in Neapolis, or in Capua, we'll transfer a lot of the ship workforce onto that island, so it won't be so bad here. I don't want to build anymore because it's just the negatives are becoming too much. And how are we doing here? 187 now, so now we can turn... Actually, I'll leave that off actually for a while then. Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to get started and get building. I'm just going to tell this ship to heal, and then we'll start moving out to attack as well. And I'll be doing a pretty big time lapse here, but I imagine I'll keep almost everything paused. I'm just waiting for these two to get in with the tiles, so we'll need some of that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, a nice blank canvas lies before us. We have 170 timber, 135 tiles, so a decent amount of resources to build something substantial. This isn't going to just be a little village where we get the tiniest little amount out of it. That's normally what I do in Anno games. I say, well, we need olive, we need resin, let's just get that and send it to Neapolis, right? Back to our capital. But not this time. This time we're going to try and play properly? Question mark? Or at least how I think you're probably supposed to play, which is we're just going to build another town. This town is going to stand on its own 2 feet. We're going to endeavor to get plebeians, and by having plebeians, they will want sandals and garum, and that's not something that we're making here, although I guess in theory the sandals we could. But either way, we've got so many sandals over in Neapolis. We'll send the sandals down, we'll send the garum down, and we'll send back the amphora that we make out of the resin and the olive oil we make out of the olives. So a nice symbiotic relationship between the two towns here. And that way we can really make use of the fact that we're currently not coming up against any problems here. We don't really have a fire risk problem or a happiness problem like we do in Neapolis. So we've kind of hit a bit of a wall over there. A little bit, you know, soft wall that I'm a bit too afraid to go beyond. But here, we can kind of build up to that same size, try to make an equal amount of money here, and have the two just work in tandem together. At least that's the plan. So as you can see, planning for that, I'm placing down Grammaticus, we'll be placing down a sanctuary, and you know, trying to look at the spacing to make sure that we're largely hitting everything while also trying to make things look a little bit better this time too. So you don't really see it in a time lapse, but I'm actually cutting out a lot. So there's a lot of trial and error, and then when I'm happy with what I think I'm going with, then that's kind of what you're seeing in the actual time lapse. So that just cuts it down a bit. But you might be wondering, like, why did I place this sanctuary there, right? It's like after a lot of trial and error, I decided there is a pretty good spot to reach almost everywhere. And if my reach is just a little short for a few houses, that's perfect, because I know I'm going to get paved roads later, and it'll help things out. I think there's also technologies that extend the reaches of these things. Now, it's not going to be a perfect town. I realize in watching this back that I didn't add any defense, so it's not like we're going to have a war straight away. But if we do have a war, then this island's going to be maybe somewhat compromised. There are lots of pockets for adding defensive towers and things of that nature around the villa. which is the, for those who don't know, if you lose the villa, you lose the island. So that's the place that you want to kind of protect. Now, we could always move the villa further up into another place in the town and have a wall around that. That'd be fine. But it's just the one thing I actually just completely forgot to even think about. I often neglect military in this game. I do think we probably won't have land combat for a while unless I feel like I'm really strong and we lose an island, or there's an island I'm looking at that we don't manage to get. Maybe then I would give it a go. But I kind of feel like I'm going to reserve combat almost for Albion and maybe attack Aether Igorwin, depending on what he has. In my previous playthrough, I found Albion was where I was lacking the most islands. You know, I was a bit slow to get there. I'm kind of slow to get there now, actually. And we were missing significant fertilities. So anyway, getting kind of a bit off topic, so we'll see how war goes in the future. There wasn't much to talk about through this time lapse as I'm just doing stuff. You can kind of see what's going on. So yeah, villa's down, the city service buildings are down. This little stripe here of trees, that's actually there because I'm planning on having an aqueduct go through that in the future. So for now, it's like a nice little just tree line. But the idea is that, yes, we send in the aqueduct here. That being said, I think even then, the aqueduct's probably not reaching everything, so there might be... it might be necessary to add an aqueduct to another part of the... Another cistern, excuse me, to the left side. We're not looking at it now, so it's hard to identify. Anyway, the production area is definitely the one that needs the most work. I've kind of just thrown in a little bit of timber for now. Now I'm just dotting the place with a few trees. We've added the flagstone. We've added a few of the mosaic pack stuff. And I'm basically out of material. So I decide this is going to have to be a two-parter. We're going to do the rest of the time-lapse after I get another batch of material and build even further back in soon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Capua has been running now for about 30 seconds. The workforce is stabilizing. We've just gone into positive workforce for the first time. I actually have a little bit of plebeian here. I think that's just from settling the island generally. And the production area is getting up and started. This is all sort of a temporary production area, though, of course. Once we get a little bit of timber rolling, we can get a bit more sheep and stuff, and we can kind of change things around. But pretty happy so far. Looking good. City status is increasing, and our ships are moving. They're heading south right now to see if they can find any pirates. It looks like there's a couple down here, and we do have a quest where we have to take out this ship, which is part of the Liberty Lost quest. So I think we could go do that. Also, we have a contract here from Concordia for delivering 14 talents of bread for 4 grand. So let's just do that, and then by the time we head back up here, we should have enough... In fact, we can take this with us. We can bring it all with us, can't we? So let's do 14 then. So 14 bread... And then we'll take as much of the timber as we can, and we'll just bring all of that down. So, first port of call is going to be to Veritas. This place is doing awesome. So, another minute has passed. We're up to 100 workforce. So, what we can start to do with that workforce now is take the load off of Neapolis, right? And we can transfer the workforce to the Peregrinus and say that it's coming from Capua instead. So, that'll obviously affect things ever so slightly, but, you know, it definitely helps spread the field. Now, I'm actually just traveling right back with this wood because I realized that I was supposed to take a talent of sandals with me. So I'm going to offload some of the timber and take that sandals. Another ship will be coming out of here soon to get the rest of it anyway, so it's not a big deal. We're taking just the one. And that's for Diana, so you can go to both places, really. So now, first place to go again is Concordia. Our ships... There's 2 enemy ships there, and there's another one. The target that we have is here, so we are going to obliterate this target. And that's what we like to see. Just complete, overwhelming firepower. It almost seems like the pirates have retreated into the bay, knowing that we're roughly in this region with this force. I don't know if that's true or not, but they've all kind of gone away. It's either coincidence or they're actually doing it on purpose. Alright, let's see what we got. You can head back to Capua to heal. Alright, so we have the captured Liberty, and we have 10 minutes to bring him... Oh, okay, we have 10 minutes to bring him all the way across the map, effectively, so that's annoying. Alright, another ship has just been finished, and I've just relocated another bit of workforce from another ship to help out. So this means we can turn back on the woodcutters, get them rolling again. And we never got that low, went down to 66, so that's totally fine. Still waiting for our Caesar to get back here, 6 minutes to go. Command completed. There's the Concordia bread, anyway. So you want to go to Diana next, drop off the sandals, then we'll drop off the wood. We can purchase a little bit of wood from Diana again, although it restocks pretty slowly with our current settings, I think. So she's at 24 right now.
Under attack.
There we go. Our pursuit is working well. Basically, if I notice them traveling out of there, I just right-click and we'll chase them from behind. As long as they're not heading toward the pirate bay, we should be able to catch them. Haven't picked up anything, though. We haven't dropped anything yet. Ah, the Caesar has arrived. That was really quick, actually. Or it felt quick. Rescue the captured Liberty? Absolutely.
Oh, Libertus, I am glad we have you, Governor.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember. We've gotten 3 captains. Finance. So what was that? Trade prices are reduced. Unfavorable wind impact increased. Hit points and self-repair speed. We'll take all of those guys on and we can deliver them down to the fleet. Alright. We're ready. All the wood has been delivered. We're still in pursuit of a few of the different pirates. So let's commence. Alright, so with the extra construction material, we're now able to build out the areas around the Grammaticus, the villa, the sanctuary, and really fill out all the way up to the boundaries of the river and the mountains. So that way we're maximizing our use of the terrain and also trying to create a more natural, organic look to things instead of just grids all the time. Grids obviously make sense in the dense urban centers, but as we push out to the rural edges of the town, and if you want to think of them that way, it makes sense to kind of curve your buildings a bit more and not worry too much about filling everything perfectly. At least to me. So, I'm trying to always make use of the terrain that I see before me. Just earlier we saw putting down a few houses and you'll notice gaps in the houses, so I added a little dirt path or some trees or whatever the case might be. There isn't that many tools in the game really at the moment to utilize. And just there we put down a Medici, and there was like a natural patch of lavender on the ground, like a natural meadow, as it were, just here. So I was like, the Medici should go right next to that. It's perfect. It looks great. We talked about this in a previous video, how I added little bushes to make it like, you know, they're the bushes that they're getting their herbs from and stuff. This is the same thing here. I've added the same kind of bushes, but on top of an actual lavender patch. And then I decided to try and place a wall around the Medici. So that's why I was quickly jumped to one of the other walls there when I was trying to figure out curved walls. There's so much time cut out of the time-lapse there because it took me ages to get it right. So I feel like now I've pretty much got it right. I have the stone wall. This came with the mosaic pack, trying to make use of the different ornaments that we have access to. And yeah, it's a bit more of a rural area around there. So added in the Peleus Felter, added in some more trees and some bushes around it, and then a watchtower and a well just to fill out that space. Spaces like this could always be filled in the future as the town gets more and more urbanized and more dense, especially if we do decide to add more defense further into the town. More watchtowers and things like that can clear out some of these places, so it's good to leave a few gaps like that because you might need them later on. Now, what is this area here? So this is a bit experimental. I was thinking that a shrine could go in the center of this. So I decided to add these 4 large lithophyte trees around here. I did experiment with other things like other statues, other normal looking trees, but I just found it didn't look quite as good. So I've gone with these. Now, obviously in the future, we'll have paved roads. It'll look much better when we pave the roads and it's not dirt roads. So I thought this was pretty cool. Like at the back of the villa, it's sort of like a private garden area / shrine. I mean, it's obviously public to people, but it's kind of part of the villa set, as it were. So yeah, this could be really cool in future just when we get those paved roads and we actually get shrines, which we'll get once we get concrete. So we're not too far from that either. And I think that could look quite nice, depending on what shrine we put in there. So starting to think ahead a little bit, you know? It's like, oh yeah, shrines. We probably need to leave space for a few of those. The same with a few of the spaces where I just have mosaic on the ground. I'm like, that is a shrine spot. Perfect. Now, it's hard to tell from the bird's eye view here, but this is actually a fairly high slope that comes up to the edge of the mountain here. So I really wanted a real natural look to this place, not much density at all. So I think that group of 6 is probably the only one we're going to go with. Everything else is going to be all warped, turned, diagonal roads, and just snaky roads to get you up to where you want to go. And things are just kind of really on top of each other. And this should look really good when we get down low and look at it. It should look really a lot more natural that way, especially when we fill it in with grass and stuff. But it is a bit random. I'd be lying if I didn't say, like, I'm just throwing things down against the edges of the map and then trying to connect things up and seeing how they look and feel. Again, playing through the mosaic pack, trying to always fill in some of the like different ornaments, but they're always like offset at angles. It's a small complaint, but I wish we could rotate the texture, but you can't for some reason. It's just, it is what it is. So if you're trying to blend it to something that uses a similar texture, it's just going to be like the cobble block stone. It's just at a different angle. It's a small thing, but things like that always intrigue me why that's happened. It's like one team wasn't talking to the other team, I guess, when designing these things. I think I do understand. There's like an overall texture map and orientation on the island, and that the ground textures use that. Like they use that orientation, so that's separate to things that actually are models. So I do get it, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating. So, you know.
still going to complain about it. And the other thing is, like, these textures are also often different, just slightly different from the ones buildings use. If I was their team, I'd be like, hey, we have these textures on buildings and on things. Let's just put them in a pack and give them to people, either for free or as part of one of your paid packs. I want to use the ones that I can blend to the actual buildings. It's great having other ones, but I like to be able to blend them. Damn it! It's the same problem in Anno 1800. And you would save time, because it's a texture you've already worked on. Now, there must be more to it than that. Maybe they don't have big sheets of it, or high res, or they're not in repeating patterns, I guess, but I don't know, man. Anyways, going way off topic. So how are we doing here? We still got a little time left, but yep, just filling in, again, now we're doing the detailing, right? So it's just like filling things with, we have very limited set of vegetation and stuff, so especially since half the vegetation is really albionic kind of stuff, so I often just use the same 2 or 3 types of trees, try to place down some bonfires, try to place down some shrubs and flower beds, and make things look a little bit more natural and filled in, and it does look good when you zoom out and kind of take it in holistically. Now we're back up to the production area. This area really had the least amount of planning. The other areas I kind of planned road layouts and took more time with it. This was more one and done, and it feels that way, especially at the end of the episode. We'll be looking back at it and it's like, oh, probably need to go over this again, but I'm not really too sure exactly what to do. We need so many olive groves, and when we get aqueducts, I think they grow better and they have more modules and stuff, so they'll probably just have to change anyway. So for now, building 4 in place, with the idea that we'll use 4 olive groves and 3 olive presses, I think. Something I did kind of forget to do was actually build a town with an olive press in mind. It would have been good to have a big open space for one, more in the heart of our little village. I'm going to be adding some in just a moment, but it's not really as far down into the town as I would have liked. I think we could have gotten more of the health benefit out of it. Not that it's super strong, but it is the character of this island to say, like, they make olive oil here, right? So it would have been nicer to have it further down. But no, not a big deal. I'm thinking of actually replacing that warehouse with this what is it called? A Vinter? Olive press. No, this is an olive press. Just because that'll be really a lot more central, and the warehouse doesn't really need to be as central as that, so I might change that in future. Last thing to do now is the resin tapper. So 2 resin tappers, 1 clay pit or dredger or whatever it's called, and then 1 potter should be all we need in this area. Again, I just redo this in the episode a little later, spoilers, so we can go over it pretty quickly because it was again, one and done, not really thought through too well. But that's pretty much going to be it for this time lapse, so I hope people enjoyed it. And again, apologies for the amount of cuts that are going to be later in the episode. It wasn't intended to be quite so many. It just kind of worked out that way. I tried not to skip over any building though, so hopefully people follow along okay.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Look at this. The Emperor likes your positive change in prestige. Thank you. And a festival can be hosted. New milestone reached. So what do we got? So on Capua, we have our first festival. An income area of effect +1 for the Cerealia festival. Excellent. Yeah, sure. We can pay 2 grand, or we could even deliver some of the bread that we have. But no, we'll just do the money. Just like that, we are rich. So I just let time play. You know, the time lapse has just ended, and we're just gaining workforce now for all of these houses that are here. So they're just starting to take effect. The economy is balancing. I didn't check the statistics at all while building. So I haven't built any porridge oat farms or porridge stands, actually. That's a good point. We could do with more sardines. We could do with more of everything, right? I've just gone all in on the houses. But super happy with how this is looking, especially if we take it from the coastline and we look up. That staggered hill as we go further and further in, it is perfect. It's gonna look so good as we start upgrading these houses into plebeians, which we can actually do right now. But the first thing I wanted to do before we, well, actually, yeah, I guess we have to. So the only bit that's still blueprinted is the olive farms and then the resin tappers for the Ep.4. So, oh, we've got some combat actually. Should just have a quick look at this. No, everything's okay. But meanwhile, back here, we can set up our first trade route now as well. Oh, it's so cool seeing the festival run through the streets. Can't wait to turn this into paved concrete or paved roads as well. It's going to look really nice. Check it out. That's what it's all about. Looks so good. All right, great. So let's begin. So we have absolutely tons of workforce. This was kind of the plan, right? So we could transfer a lot of the ships over. So I've started doing this thing where Capua begins with a C, and if the ship's workforce comes from there, I just write a little C in front of it, and that way I know. So we'll try to name towns with different starting letters. That might help things out, because it can get kind of unwieldy a bit later on, wondering who's with who. It doesn't really tell you, I don't think, anyway. So yeah, we'll continue to do that. So right now I've just got 2 ships belonging to here. We'll just add some more, though. So we'll do this one. So the Thetis. And if it doesn't have one before it, I should expect it to come from Neapolis, right? Okay. So, let's get started with the farms up here. So we'll need a new warehouse. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So they actually require tiles. So it's a good thing that we actually managed to deliver that stuff in here first. So straight away, we're working them just like that. Thanks to the fertility on this island, of course. So if we have a look at the chain really quickly. So this is every 2 minutes. So I've gone with 4. So 2 minutes divided by 4. That's every 30 seconds we're making one. And then we've got olive press, so it's a minute 30. A minute 30 divided by 3 gets us to 30 seconds, so we'll need 3 of these. So the plan is to have one here. And we'll build the Vigilets as well. So that'll be 1. The next one I want is going to be down in the town. And I mean, that just disappeared right before my very eyes. That's the first bug I've actually really seen now. I've seen people say that this update has been quite buggy, but that's the first one. I mean, I definitely spent the money on it, didn't we? But it just vanished. Is it okay to put something here instead? Oh, that could be a problem. Okay, problem solved, I think. Just deleting some of the stuff in the... Deleting the road actually let me put the building back. The road had that connection coming off of it as if something was built. But either way, it's gone now. So anyway, that should balance our numbers there. Obviously, we don't have the plebeians just yet, so let's upgrade our first batch. I thought a good one to do would be this square grouping of houses here. Can they upgrade yet? Oh, they actually can't. We need to provide some more stuff. That's okay. Let's get to it. So we'll get another one of these. And then we're going to have to just go with another Palais Felter. It might be a good spot somewhere up here, actually. It's cool. There's actually multiple parades going through the town. There's this one here. And there's also this one here. I didn't know they could be multiple at the same time. It's a real shame because when you restart the game, I think they go away. Or when you load the game. So, we've got 2 Palais Felters on the island. That's not enough. Okay, let's go with another one. Another one up here. Just for now, we'll cram it in like so. And I think a spinner up here as well might be helpful. I'm going to connect both of these guys in here just for the moment. I might reorganize that in the future. Can this connect across? Oh, it kind of can, yeah, actually. Yeah, good. Alright, so those 2 in place. I'll just check that we're actually feeding these correctly. So we will be a little low on hemp, but we'll have enough sheep. And then the question is this going to be enough for us? It'll just borderline be not enough. Damn. And then we need more sardines. I did build a lot, I guess, but we'll just put another sardines down here. Upgrade our trading post, so we can handle a little bit more. Let's go back out to our ships and just see how they're getting on now, because they should have met up with each other pretty much. And we actually did get something dropped on the ground. It says castaways. So it's not just flotsam. Oh, you can actually see them clinging on. That was pretty cool. What do we get? A sartorist adjusts the fit so the forehead is free. Knowledge from Palais if supplied. Yeah, that's good. And then we have you. So let's do some transferring real quickly here. So, you've actually got things for, let's see, trade prices, unfavorable wind impact, and hit points. Let's do that onto the trireme, the hit points one. Mender. Alright, so the Mender's in spot. Next one could be the unfavorable wind impact. Just throw that on one of our Pentaconters for now. And then we have the trade price one. Kind of tempting to keep that for myself, or one of the civilian ships, actually. That's not doing anything. Yep, so anyways, we've dealt the pirates a stinging attack, stinging blow there. They're not going to come back anytime soon. Let's head up to Capua, and then we can readjust what's going to go on. Let's move this further out yet again. So I'll redo this production area in the future. I just wasn't too sure exactly where things are going to go. I'm happy enough with the olive plantation up here. I think that's fine. But yeah, things like this I'm just not entirely sure about yet. So I'll upgrade the warehouse. Okay, good. What's your problem? People request my decision. Benbalion escorts an equestrian woman and her teenage daughter into your praetorium. With barely contained rage, the matron complains that her willful daughter has refused her betrothal to an elderly, wealthy senator. The girl insists on destroying our family for the love of some boy. Benbalion adds context: the father is deceased, therefore the young woman is free from the authority of patria potestas. Legally, you may assume that role if you want. So force her to marry a senator, and that's going to be increased prestige, negative happiness. Allow her to marry her love. Increase happiness, negative prestige. Yeah, we can't take negative happiness. And this is on Neapolis, so no way. Order the girl to serve as a Vestal virgin. Yeah, I'll take the negative to prestige. I don't think prestige matters to me too much. I mean, the Emperor might be not super happy about it for a while, but I'm okay with that, I think. I'd like to balance out the happiness for 4 hours. At least for 1 hour, the remaining hour. Excuse me, that happiness should cancel itself out then.
Prudent.
Excuse me. So now on Neapolis, happiness is positive. We're at 100. So those two things are canceling each other out. That's +2, and this is -2. Once that goes away, we'll be +2. So we should expect to go up to 500 happiness. So we should be very happy indeed. It's a far cry from those early riots we had today. So we can do our upgrades. Let's just wind time back a little bit. Alright, we are welcoming our first plebeians. This other block up here would be a good candidate, I think. More urban, dense looking buildings. Like there, maybe here as well. So there we go. Not too shabby. Ships are on the way back. Our little blob. Looks so cool. You see that, Zara? That's a real fleet. Actually, her fleet's here. Not too bad. It's actually bigger than mine, pretty much. She looks like she has 2 triremes. Alright, great. You're out of range of the warehouse. Now, let's get the Ep.4 up and running. So it's going to be 2 resin tappers. Hopefully they have... they don't. I was going to say hopefully it has 100%. Alright, so I just spent a little minute readjusting this area, actually, because I must have talked through it like 3 times by now. But now it's definitely set. So... basically, the resin tappers were here, there wasn't enough trees, so I ended up just putting down a woodcutter. We'll let it do its thing, it'll grow some trees for us if we do want to use the area in future. Probably won't, but it's good just to have a bit more trees close by rather than having to go further and further all the time. So, now we've got our clay pit. So for every clay pit, you can have 2 resin tappers. So we have a resin tapper here and here. And then for every resin tapper, you can have 1 Ep.4. Or potter. So with one of those, we should be all balanced, or 2 that 1 for 1. We should be all balanced, excuse me, and then we have our charcoal burner just behind. It looks like we're ever so slightly low on... that's annoying. Let's cut this. That gets us to 77. The tree will grow back, I think, because there was trees here, and I actually just built a road over them, so they'll come back. It's more than enough that we need, but hopefully that'll just fill itself in the future now anyway. So that's that should be the pottery. Now we'll obviously have to check all of our work against the rates in Neapolis to see have we done enough. We are low though now on the regular workforce, which is surprising to me. We need even more people.
Fancy me in a tunic. I mean...
it could be because we're now running low on porridge. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so let's get started on that. Maybe we could do some even up in this area. Tell you what, there's a warehouse there that's leveled up, so let's just get the porridge from here. We'll probably need 2. And we'll get a couple of porridge stands right there. I'll just fill all this in, I guess, and see how it goes. Alright, there's our 80. This one can just fill all the way up to there. That's 70.
There is a shortage of workforce in one of your cities.
Yeah, kind of messed that up, didn't I?
A single ant can't run the colony.
I know. So we need more farmers back, but as they start making the porridge, it should be okay. It's just they're going to be a bit slow to do that now. So I'm just going to recover some of the workforce here, let them get started. Let's cancel some of that. Yeah, messed that one up on my part. But what I could do actually really quickly is actually transfer one of the ships back over to Neapolis. And that saves the workforce here. Once they get started with the porridge, it'll just be enough to keep things going. You know, I just forgot to build that basically. So these guys will start producing. They'll start passing to the parge stands. They'll pass to the warehouse. Everything will be fine. You don't need to tell me how to fulfill needs. I know. Sorry, Ben Balian. Now, while we're waiting, we could actually start up our first trade route though. So create a route between Capua and Neapolis, and we'll assign a ship, the Optime, and we'll tell you to load your first batch of olive oil, which is great. You've already got 20. Unload it at Neapolis. And then you may as well just take the Amphore and unload it at Neapolis as well. And we'll say establish route. And maybe use some shorthand for the names or something. So that's now going to get going. So this is the ship. Yeah, it's picked up 2 Amphore already, 20 olive oil, and it's on the way. That's awesome. They're walking through our little herb field for the Medici. Yeah, looking damn fine. Really happy with how that little area's turned out. All right, how we doing? Population, there we go. That's what we're talking about. Right, everyone can get back on board. Back to business. Business as usual. We've recovered. Slight mistake. Slight starvation problems, but everyone's working again. Everything's good again, so we're fine. So yeah, they'll start making their hemp again now. If we just have a quick look, is hemp okay? Hemp will actually be a little short. I do need to make one more field. God damn. So I'll tell you what. Turn these around. Stick them in there. Alright, so 4 little hemp fields. Yeah, we'll have to put this somewhere else in the future. Also in the future, the plan is to have an aqueduct come down somewhere here and go along this area. Could maybe even feed one into the left side, but really I planned for it to possibly just go into where this statue was, or is. Or it could even just go right there, and we'll see what kind of reach it has. I don't know if it'll be able to reach like all the way down into the bottom of the town here, but maybe. Not the end of the world if it doesn't though, it's okay. Now, let's take a quick look around for contracts again. Still always need money if you want to settle more islands. 61 sardines here for Valeria. Or just 17 tiles. 17 tiles, I guess, is quite doable, and we're quite close by to be able to do that, so yes. So we'll get the Caesar here to go pick up the 17 tiles, and we'll deliver that over to Valeria. Diana's not going to have anything for a little while yet. Cecilia maybe already does. Yes, she does. She also wants sardines again. Just 20 this time for 2 grand. It's a very little amount. Or we could deliver timber for 2,500. I might just take the slight increase of money there. So let's do that one. I'm guessing Zara Nitu has something again for us. She does. Ah, 13 talents of Amphore. Or if we do the pigs, we get a specialist, a constructivist. I think we could do the Amphore. It might take a little while, but we can do it. Oh my, I just realized we hadn't been researching. I don't know how long that had gone on, but hopefully not too long. So Safe Havens allows the placement of Latium's coastal production buildings in the water. That'll take 20 minutes. These have just been opened up since we started our first research. So extra Libertas workforce, mackerel population in every town, water conservation. And what about this one? Resin Tapper can use meadows. It doesn't need trees, so that would have been nice. So yeah, let's go with the Villa Retinue then, to get us started. Allows all farms to benefit from cisterns. We'll get that afterwards, because we're going to be pretty close now to working on the aqueducts, I think. And then we'll get the safe havens so we can build out in the water a bit more. Anyways, I was just thinking, like, why not just increase the amount of stuff we're making? We have the workforce to do it, so we should probably just commit to it. If we have a look at Latium, like, we're obviously going to need more Amphore, right? So we may as well increase that. The olive oil for now seems pretty strong, so that can probably stay as is. But these two, if we have a look, it's only 5 plebeians each, so another 2 on this side. And maybe we can just go into here and find a place for resin on each one. Try and make it look kind of interesting and tilt this one as well. So, are you good? You're good? Okay, cool. So that's 2 more. There's the Amphore. This hopefully will still be able to feed them. Although, as we can see, it's still not quite enough. I thought they would grow back. These trees reappeared here when I cut the road. So I'm like, oh yeah, maybe they'll grow back, but it doesn't seem like it's enough. And if I push any further back, we seem to lose it. So I have to just find another spot for charcoal or something before we get that tech, obviously, in the future. That will allow us to grow wood. I did work on growing some trees here, but they disappear when we zoom out. I'm sure that's fine. But yeah, maybe actually just even positioning somewhere like here would be good. So if we take that away now, take this away, add another one of these, you're at 100% and you're not too far from the warehouse. So yeah. Okay, so that's 2 more of those, 2 more of those, another one of these. We need another clay. Now, that is going to try and reach up here. So this is pretty far. I feel like we just need another warehouse. Yeah, that won't be able to reach over. So I feel like we just need multiple. It's not the best layout, I know, but at least it'll keep us going. And it should have increased M4A by double now. So we should be making them pretty nicely. So it'll be 4 per minute with an excess of 2 per minute. So it'll take about 20 minutes to fill up the storage, I think. Now, I just wanted to see how much is this island. So this is one of the next islands I was thinking of getting, but it's nearly 400 grand. Alright, so our trade ship, the Optime, has returned, and I've just manually filled it now, up to 50 olive oil and 21 M4A. So now when it makes its delivery back to Neapolis, that'll be enough to last the trip back here to go fetch more and then go back. We could put multiple ships on the route. I mean, they're not really doing it much else right now. In fact, you're delivering this.
You're
Done. But I feel like 1 ship should be enough. But it is a pretty high distance, so we'll have to kind of just feel it out. By the time the ship gets back here, I want to see, are we running out in Neapolis, basically. That island, by the way, that I was looking at, it's 397,000 as well, so it's 400 grand is what we need. We're at 125. It's not bad, but it's going to take a lot to get there. And I'm not just going to hold on to the money. I reckon, yeah, we should just continue building and trying to bring up the income and the population at the same time. We might have to get a smaller island between now and then, though. So the islands near Neapolis, one of them does have grape and flax on it. It's this one. So this might be a good smaller supplemental buttress to Neapolis. Not a big population on here, but a good place to just harvest some resources and send it over. Again, though, every island you get makes all the other islands more expensive, so I'm just always kind of thinking about that. But I think it might be worth it, because otherwise I feel like we will be waiting quite a long time. And I'm just looking at these other islands here, not really seeing anything that we'd really want. Now, the other thing we have to do is check, could Neapolis be sending Capua some stuff? And it could. We could be sending sandals, and we could be sending garum. So let's do that. So we'll set up a second trade route. New trade route, Neapolis to Capua. We'll assign a ship that's not doing anything. And we'll say we want the garum, want the sandals, and want to unload and establish. Let me see who's under attack real quick. All good news, I hope. Our trireme is here as well. Yeah, we're taking out pirates quite nicely. That said, they're... Well, they killed him, actually. Where are they going? Oh, they're going to a different target. Excellent. Good stuff. Right, so while I was a bit distracted, I've just noticed that Zaranitu has gone ahead and claimed one of the 4 central islands. It's one of the ones I was looking at, but it's not the one that I really wanted. So it's the one that was lavender, flax, you know, it's 400 grand. Apparently, she's got a lot of money, or she's pulling some serious favors with the Emperor to get that done. Because it also said she had no money for a loan, so she's either lying to me, or, I don't know, she's got a good relationship with him, I guess. Now, Concordia has also just claimed another one. She's got her first additional island. And this is a fine one. It's got resin, it's got olive. I've got no problem with her taking this. I wouldn't have gone for it myself. This is the one I want. It's the one with the grape, the flax, and the lavender. So hopefully we can still get it in the future. It's about 400 grand. So it's going to take a while. We're at 140 now. We're gaining, you know, 1,600 per minute. That is many minutes to get to 400. Now, our ship, I think, has just delivered its first batch of stuff. And our other ship is just delivering its first batch. So the synergy is happening. The garum is getting delivered along with the sandals. What we need to do as well... Oh, no, I've already done that. We've already set reserves for all goods on this place. Yeah, we're totally fine. But now they've got their stuff. Hell yeah. So they're ready to upgrade. So let's do our first little batch of Equites. And there we have it, just like that. We can now start concrete, cheese, and wine. The Emperor has a request. 97 talents of sails and wood delivered anytime to Diana. Absolutely, we can do that. That's easy.
Waiting on your wisdom.
Albion awaits. It's all to play for now.
So you do have convictions of your own.
I do have convictions of my own. I'm sorry I didn't read that. I mean, I've read it before, so I hope people don't mind too much. Yes, we can travel between two provinces and check them out, but for now, we will leave it there. So we've just unlocked Equites. This is going to give us many new options going forward, and we can obviously continue to keep expanding and building more of them to see how everything kind of nets out. But ultimately, this means now we're free to start thinking about building more centrally, building a second little village over here, connecting it with an aqueduct, all of that good stuff, and some of the bigger stuff as well. So concrete production is obviously the first thing that we have to work on, so we'll get to that in the next one. But that is going to be it for today. So a little bit of synergistic trade between the two islands, building up this island for its own unique settlement, and honestly the better looking of the two, because it's got a bit of planning behind it, or a bit more planning, but its production side of things could be worked on, so we'll do that in future also. The rivals are expanding. We have a few contracts. Money is looking pretty good. It is all to play for. All right. Thank you very much for watching. A treaty.
Let's make a deal.
The Emperor still would not like that, so we will say no. All right. Well, anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you again very much for watching. Appreciate all the support so far and the very kind comments. This one was probably edited quite heavily. I promise I didn't skip over any building, at least. So hopefully, you know, we were able to follow along just okay. And I'll see you in the next one.